How are you guys doing?
Good.
Had a good lunch?
Yep.
Good. So go ahead and just settle in. I want you guys just to get comfortable. Okay. I want you to close your eyes and we're going to play a game of imagination. I'm not going to come up and write on your face or anything, I promise. So just close your eyes and listen to the story and then imagine yourself in the story, okay? So it's a Saturday night. You're out with your friends. You're in the car. It's still kind of a warm night because it's like early September and you're just having a great time. The wind is blowing through the car. The sunroof is up, right? You can hear your favorite song playing because it's nice and loud, just the way you like it. One of your friends is thumping on the seat maybe, and you're kind of dancing around in your seat, and you've got the life is just at your fingertips. Great future's coming up. It's awesome. All of a sudden, there's screeching tires, and the car is out of control. You hit a rock, you hit something hard, and you jolt back. The car flips, and the driver, your best friend, just flies out the sunroof like a rag doll. The car keeps spinning and turning. You can't tell which way is up. You're dizzy. You are so dizzy because you can't see the ground. Everything's moving so quickly. The next thing you know, two more of your friends are thrown out the back of the car, and you have no idea where they go. Then the car finally lands 100 feet down this cliff. But it doesn't just land on the ground. It lands on your best friend, the driver. Okay, open your eyes. That driver was my daughter, Tiffany Walters. And I am her mother. And this happened about a year ago. And I'm here to share that story with you today. Tiffany is there on the left. She was kind of nicknamed Barbie doll. Barbie, a lot of times her friends called her that, and I still see that on Facebook and whatnot. She was 6'1", beautiful girl, inside and out, loved people, loved volleyball, loved her friends. The type of girl that when she saw someone begging on the street, she'd actually take them into the fast food restaurant nearby and buy them something to eat. So just beautiful inside and out, great grades, smart girl, funny. She would crack jokes that would just send you guys out of your chairs. She was just hysterical. She went to Mountain View High School and should have graduated this last year, but did not. A couple more pictures of her. This is her playing volleyball in August. And then this is one of her senior pictures. And I have to tell you that the photographer, which is a friend of mine, was taking the picture, and I was standing behind her in tears myself because I just was so proud of the young woman that she had become and how much she cared about people and just how she was making good decisions. This is Bobby. Bobby is one of the young men that flew out the back of the vehicle. He died of a head injury and died on the scene. He's there pictured on the left with his brother Luke. Bobby, again, smart. He had great aspirations for college, great grades, great athlete, very, very athletic, played football most of his life. This is Braden, and actually this class has got an extra special treat because Braden's mom is here with us today, so she's joined us for this class. So he was the other young man that was thrown out the back of this car and had to be life flighted to the hospital. I love this picture. This is a recent picture. He has survived the accident, thankfully. But I love this one because he went and got this tattoo after. It was only a couple weeks before the accident. My daughter and him were sitting in their backyard on the trampoline and talking about, what kind of tattoo should I get, blah, blah, blah. And of course his mom wasn't going to let him get one until he was 18, but she had told him, my favorite verse is Philippians 4:13. And so that is what he's got tattooed there with the cross. So I love that he honored her that way and he's telling his story. So this is the car before. Cute car, right? So I have to be honest, I hate this car. You can imagine why. But I took this off Facebook yesterday, and I'll be honest, today is the first time I've ever shown pictures of the car. It's just been too hard for me to do that emotionally, but I am here to do that today because I want you guys to really understand what happened and what everything looks like. She wrote this on June 21st, 2012. I love my car, smiley face, haha, I cleaned it. So she had just gotten this car a couple weeks before from her dad, and she absolutely loved this car. And so I'm sure all you guys, when you get in your parents' car, you're always like leaving your gun wrappers behind and your pop cans and stuff, yeah, right? I know, come on, be honest, I know you do, because she did. So now she gets her car and she's on her fence. Don't leave your wrappers here, don't leave your trash in the car, which as parents we love because we've been dealing with this for years, right? So it's kind of fun when the tables turn. So this is the road that they were on. This is a very rural road. It's a private gated community. Who knows where Table Rock is? So a bunch of you that live in the area, you know Table Rock, okay? So there's a gated community up there, and they were a little ways in, so they went for a drive, about a half a mile up and a half a mile back. There's a total of about 15 houses on this road. So very small, very quiet, dark at night, so on and so forth. If you look here, you can see the tire marks. So this is where she tried to brake when she realized she had a corner and it was too late to be able to brake the car. They are on a little bit of a downhill as well, so she wasn't able to gain control of this car and basically just didn't navigate the turn and missed a turn and came up and hit this rock up here. And that is where she died of blunt force trauma. So what happens whenever that car stops, what's her body doing? It's still going, right? So without her seatbelt on, she hit that airbag and steering wheel so hard that is what actually killed her and just took the life out of her, just like that. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't know that was possible until September 9th, okay? So the next picture is the cars after. So this is the front driver's side, obviously, passenger side. There was a front passenger and he did survive, and not because he was wearing a seatbelt, he just had the lucky seat in the house. The way the car spinned and turned, he was buffered. Also, he was buffered with my daughter's body for a bit until she went out the sunroof. So he just was lucky and actually got up and walked out of the crash. The next picture is of the back of the car, and this would be where Braden and Bobby both were ejected out whenever the car flipped. So I want you to notice something about these pictures. It's banged up and, right, I mean, it looks like it obviously went down a 100-foot cliff, but it could look worse, right? Back up to the first picture. Notice the frame and everything is still intact. So what does that tell you? Had they been wearing their seatbelts, what are the chances that they would have walked away from this? What do you think? Very likely, at least 80%. And I would put money on it. They would have walked away from this had they only been wearing their seatbelts. They drove half a mile. That's it. So that's always shocked me and made me really sad because half a mile up, half a mile back, and they didn't make it back. It doesn't need to be that way. Okay, next. So, you know, September 9th hits, and we're devastated, obviously, by a 5:30 a.m. wake-up call at the door. The police coming to tell us that this accident has occurred. We didn't know who the other occupants of the car were at the time, so there was a lot of confusion. Her classmates, some of the volleyball team got together and put together a prayer and candlelight. And for whatever reason, we kind of got some gusto and decided that we should go. This is the first time we met Bobby's parents. Okay, so we were there. There was probably 200 to 300 kids there that night. On September 10th, we actually went to the crash site and released balloons, pink for Tiffany, obviously, and blue for Bobby. And this is Bobby's mom. We were hugging her at the crash site. It was obviously an extremely painful day, a painful place to be, but something we felt we needed to do. So we've got a grieving community here. We've got a friend who made the crosses and came up and installed those up in the rocks. And then there was actually another candlelight later that week, and I remember hearing about it, but I was pretty foggy at that point. You know, at this point, you're making decisions about your kids that you never, ever think you would have to make. What's their service going to look like? Where am I going to bury my child? Do I get to see her one last time and say goodbye? Where was my daughter? She was under the car. We didn't get to say goodbye. So you never know when your last time is. We didn't get to have an open viewing because of that. So here's pictures of Braden. Now Braden was the other young man that was thrown from the vehicle. He had to fight for his life. The physician said they'd never seen someone come in with so many internal injuries and actually survive. So it's really a miracle that he has made it. But he had a long road of recovery ahead of him. And there's one more picture of him there in the hospital. He was in there. How long was he in the hospital?
He was in ICU about a week, and then probably another 5 days before he went to Elks Rehab.
Okay, so about a week and then 5 days in rehab, and then he had a lot more rehab, a lot more doctor visits and whatnot, and he was in a wheelchair through about middle of December.
3 months, yeah, he had surgery. They
So
reconstruct his
after surgeries
pelvis.
and everything. So tough road, a lot of pain. Quick pictures of just their service. This was Bobby's service. They included Tiffany in their service just like we included Bobby in ours, and that's the next shot. You know, we had only been in the area a little over 2 years at this point, so I was pretty shocked to find, you know, roughly 700-ish or so people at her service. that was, surprise! That was pretty, amazing that she had impacted that many lives in such a short amount of time. So we did have a big service for her there, and Mountain View High School let us have it there, which was nice. So this is a crash site yet again. Now the crosses have been there a couple days. People are coming up, leaving flowers. This has had, what we've talked about in other classes, a ripple effect. It didn't just affect the mom and the dad and a few friends. This affected, kids in the classroom. Anyone here lost a friend? Okay, so we've got a bunch that this is hitting close to. Oh, you know what it's like to go into a classroom and find that desk empty, and that was really crushing for a lot of the kids who knew Bobby and Tiffany to have to face every day, and it was a really hard thing for them to get through. Now, you guys all probably know what a senior night is for sports. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't know. This was my first senior night with my baby girl, and she wasn't there to share it with, but we were there. They gave us the gifts that they would have given her. We had no idea what we were getting into. I gotta tell you, this was one of the most painful nights. It was sweet, everything they were doing to honor Tiffany, but it was extremely hard because this was about a month and a half after the accident. So they did frame her jersey for us, which now hangs on the wall in our house, so we see it every single day, and we cherish that. It's got pictures of all the girls. They had a hard time recovering from this. They went on to play volleyball. They had a very supportive coach, but they didn't win a match after that. So she was a team captain. She was really the cornerstone of this team, and they just couldn't pull it together enough to make another win. So May 3rd, Bobby's family, Sherry and Duke, and sisters and brothers, they celebrated his birthday by sending us a balloon, and I just thought that was really neat. Also, some friends of Bobby's at the high school put together these buckle-up for Bobby bracelets, which I wear mine virtually every single day. The cool thing was they used it to raise funds, and they were able to raise enough money to buy a full page in the yearbook, one for Tiffany and one for Bobby, so that all the classmates could honor her and cherish that forever. So that was super special for them to do. Tiffany loved giraffes, go figure. She's tall, giraffes are tall. She had a big heart, giraffes had a big heart. So it was kind of cool that she loved giraffes so much. This was taken just a couple of weeks before the accident, early August, maybe mid-August. So as you can imagine, Thanksgiving that year would be rough, right? It's only been a couple of months. You're supposed to put together a family dinner. How are you supposed to do that when there's a huge, huge void in your family? Not to mention, Tiffany would have turned 18 on November 26th. So that was pretty hard as a mom to have not seen her through that great age. I mean, that's a big deal to turn 18, right? So we went to San Diego, fed giraffes, and just kind of got away from home, which was good for us to just try to find some peace of joy. This is another picture of Braden in the wheelchair. Like I said, he was in that for a few months, so that was not easy. It was not easy on mom carting him around and having to take him everywhere. So he lost a lot of freedom and was in pain and whatnot. So not a fun trip. And there he was crowned homecoming king as well. So that was a nice way for them to honor him. Another trip that was planned, Rogers family had planned a trip to Hawaii well before this accident, and actually Bobby had opted not to go. He was so concerned about making sure his studies were where he wanted them. He was a straight A student, that he had said, no, I'm not going to go. And I mean, I've seen pictures of this kid. I mean, he's out in water sports all the time, so that had to have been a tough decision for him to make because he was concerned about his future and wanting to get things done properly. He wasn't going, but they opted to go ahead and go, and that was late October, I believe, and so they sketched his name in the sand, and I just thought that was a nice thing that they were able to do to try to, again, get away from home, get away from the empty bedrooms down the hall. That's pretty hard to look at every day. So why are we here? So our goal is 0 fatalities. Now why 0? How about not reduced? You hear that all the time. Let's reduce this, let's lower this. I'm saying 0 because, Cynthia, if I say reduce, but the one death that happens is in your family, is that okay? That's not okay, is it? That's not okay. So we want 0. And I don't want to ever sit in front of the news and hear of one of you guys not wearing your seatbelts and being ejected out of a car. It's just, that's my goal, is to not see that on the news ever again. And I do right now weekly. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to share with you. First, I need a really brave guy that drives. Who drives? Mm-hmm. Dina, do you want to come up?
Yeah.
Come on. I promise I don't bite. Not usually, anyway. Okay. So you're my driver. Okay, how do you drive? So, you got your foot on the gas or brake or whatever, right? Where's your hand? Yeah, see? So get your hand up there. You're in the driver's seat, right? So this is how a guy drives, right? How does a girl drive? Right. Thank you. All right now. You can put us in a wreck. All right. So guy drives like this. So when he has an accident, what happens? First thing happens is his knees break. He goes down and under. Knees break, then he has posterior hip issues. Then guess what? He has man part issues for the rest of his life. That never gets fixed. You can't fix that. Not good. Keep your hand on the wheel, right? All right. Okay. So how do girls drive, right? We said this way, so girls are going to go up and over. So you end up with a brain injury. My daughter would have gone up and over had the car continued forward. Instead, it did this, so she went out on top. Okay? Thank you. Give him a hand. Okay, so what happens if I have some cream cheese and I throw it down on the ground? What happens? It splatters, right? Okay, so if you have a brain injury, this is what happens to your brain. Because your brain is up front that determines your personality, your impulse control. This is an important part of your brain, and whenever you hit head first, not fixable. Your brain's cream cheese, you've splattered it, it's done. They can't fix that. It's not a broken leg that you go and you get fixed and you're down for a bit for the rest of your life. So if you're lucky enough to survive, you have man part issues, or you have your brain that doesn't work. All right? We all agree that's probably not what you want to do. Okay? So, car crashes are the #1 cause of death for teens. That's why I'm here. We're experiencing that up close and personal, unfortunately. I still wake up in shock every day knowing that I have to get up and spend this day without my daughter. I don't want your parents to go through that with you. I don't care what they yelled at you for this morning. I don't care they didn't let you go out and do what you wanted to this weekend and that just ticked you off. You're going to clash. You guys are growing and you're reaching out and you're going to clash, but I guarantee you your parents love you with every ounce of their being. And if something happened to you, it would turn their world upside down. It would turn your siblings' worlds upside down, your friends. I can tell you now I have depression issues, I have anxiety, and I have panic attacks on a regular basis. All these things came about because of the stress of losing my daughter. So think about that, about buckling up and eliminating distractions in your car, not only for yourself, but everyone that loves you and cares about you. Even if it's a bad day, they still love and care about you. Okay, car crashes account for over half of all brain injuries. We talked about that. That's not a fun way to live either. So if you're lucky enough to survive, then you've got this. This is not good. Almost 80% of fatal crashes involving teen drivers happened in rural areas. Where was Tiffany? Right? Very rural. She was on a private road with 15 houses on it. It's like a neighborhood. Okay? This is what happens. How many of you or your parents gotten in the car and thought, oh, I'm only going a half a mile up the road to, to the local Freddy's or whatever, and not buckled up? Let's be honest. I have. Okay? How important now is that half a mile? It could be your life. And that's where most of these accidents happen, is close to home. Okay? So Tiffany and Bobby would want you to know that seatbelts keep you in the car and save your life up to 80% of the time. Do you think they would have walked away from that accident?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the car, right? I mean, without even being an investigator and doing all that research, you can see from the car. They probably would have gotten out, maybe a concussion, maybe a couple broken arms or whatnot. Their worst frustration at that point would have been, oh crap, I'm in some big trouble. And oh my gosh, my baby, my car, right? That would have been her worst fear. Okay? So last year in Idaho, we lost 17 young people due to just not wearing seatbelts. That's huge. 4 of them were from Mountain View High School alone. That school's hurting. That's a lot of losses in 1 year. So you guys need to buckle up, no matter how short the distance, no matter how far the distance, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter, like, my shirt's wrinkled. Why is my shirt wrinkled? Because I wore my seatbelt today. That was way more important to me to live than to not have a wrinkled shirt today. Okay, so you guys know these other factors, right? Speeding. We've all been kind of guilty of that. I had to make sure I wasn't speeding today because I was running a little bit late and I was tempted. I thought, wow, I'm headed in here to teach you guys and talk to you about all these distractions and reasons accidents happen. I can't speed. Tell you what, that holds me pretty darn accountable. Aggressive driving. Who's seen aggressive driving? Right? Okay. Don't get pulled into that emotional game with people on the road. You're dealing with this big, huge piece of equipment. It's a killing machine. Don't let someone draw you into aggressive driving. Don't just, they flip you off or whatever. Give them a wave and a smile. That gets them best every time. Just go about your day. Pull over, get out of the way if you need to. Okay, drinking and substance use, including buzz driving, you know, a little bit is too much, especially at your age, obviously. Teresa will talk about that. Distractions. Do you think there were distractions going on that night in the car? You got 3 guys, you got 1 girl. I know 2 of them had crushes on her for sure. I mean, do you think there was a lot going on? Music, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. And add to that inexperience. You've been driving a little over a year. So there's a lot going on that we need to control now. My heart goes out to you guys because when I was your age a few days ago, I didn't have cell phones as a distraction. And you guys do. And I feel for you because I know even as an adult, it's a horrible distraction. And, you know, I'm supposed to know better and so on and so forth. But we've got to put our cell phones down. We've got to throw them in the back seat, put them in the glove compartment, whatever it takes. Have your friend do your texting or whatever. But don't be texting or changing music on an iPod while you're driving. That is as bad as drunk driving. It takes you your eyes away from the road just the same, and it's serious. Okay? So what are we doing? We're sharing the story. We want to get you guys educated and set the example so that you will continue to share the story. You know, hey, Mom, you need to buckle up. I just heard this crazy lady talk today, and you know you need to wear your seatbelt. Whatever it takes so that we keep you guys safe. We're offering scholarships that promote defensive driving. You need to take the Alive at 25 class, and that class is free. Oh wait, we got a couple more. I always forget this part. Okay, so we've got Mountain View High School Prom. We went and spoke at that, and we had a booth, and we just were asking people to sign and pledging that they would buckle up. So that's what some of these are. School assemblies. These are just the areas that we're coming out to talk to you guys. We did the Treasure Valley Safety Summit Parents Panel, and there was other parents too that told their stories, and believe it or not, some of the stories are more tragic than mine, and that just broke my heart hearing other stories of other moms going through the same thing that I am. So back to the scholarships, we're giving 8 away each year, and they're $500. All we ask is that you take the Alive at 25 class, and you write an essay and submit an application. So this is the website that you would go to sign up for the Alive at 25 class. It's free. I'm telling you guys, it's a great class. You're not going to go in there and be like, okay, I got to do this for a scholarship. I mean, it is really, really a good class, and they will show graphic pictures and whatnot, but they really teach you a lot of information, and they make it fun and interesting at the same time. Like us on Facebook, buckleupforbobby.com, and also their website, Buckle Up for Bobby, as well as where the scholarships, applications, and everything are. So take advantage of those, you guys. Here's this year's winners that we just gave out here a few months ago, and so that was fantastic. We had 1 gal who couldn't make it, so she's on the next screen. And this is actually one of Tiffany's best friends. We didn't know that when we were grading and judging the essays and whatnot that she would win, but or who she was, but she did, and we're really thrilled. She's the one that made the crosses. Okay. So what are we doing to try to move forward? We're doing things like this, trying to educate other people. We celebrated their heavenly birthday party on the 1-year anniversary, which was just last September. By just having everybody over. We did raffles, and we really made it fun. We didn't want it to be a grieving time. We wanted to really celebrate that they're in a better place, even though it really bites for us. This picture is really important. It's at the party too, but this was the policeman who was actually first on the scene of the accident. He tried to save Bobby's life, but it was too late. And then he sat with Tiffany for hours, and Tiffany was stuck under that car for over 8 hours. So that's a pretty big deal for him to have taken the time to sit there and pray over her and just hold her hand. He didn't know her, but that he did that just showed a lot of heart and compassion in our police force. So, okay. So tell me, after I've kind of given you guys this whole story, what kind of things can you do to prevent yourself from being in Braden's position or Tiffany's position?
No texting while driving.
No texting, thank you, good.
Under the influence.
Right, and under the influence of anything, right?
Wear your seatbelt.
Wear your seatbelt.
Especially at short distances, like if you're going to the store.
Right, right. Wear your seatbelt all the time. Not just when it's convenient. I mean, us girls, we're horrible because we wear pretty scarves and we have long jewelry. Don't care, put your seatbelt on. Take the jewelry or scarf off. I mean, I've had it interfere. I love wearing lots of long jewelry. I've literally had to just take it off so it won't distract me because I don't want that to, you know, well, why wasn't she wearing her seatbelt? I don't want that at my service. Well, she was wearing pretty jewelry, you know, okay? So, thank you guys for being here and hearing my story and sharing it with, you know, sharing that with me today. And Teresa's gonna come up and talk more about the substance part of it. Just please buckle up, arrive alive, not only for yourself, but for the friends and family that care about you, okay? Thank you.